Hi students, welcome to lesson number 6 on traditional Hindu social organization and Vedic Indian society with regard to Varna system, Ashrama system and Purusharthas. Hinduism is the basis of Hindu social organization and it is the world's oldest religion, followed by several racial and ethnic groups. It is the third largest religion besides Christianity and Islam. Roughly 95% of the world's Hindus live in India. Hinduism is unique in that it is not a single religion but a compilation of many traditions and philosophies. The Hindu sacred texts deal with the ethical behavior of an individual, of a family and of society in general. The origin of the word Hindu is geographical and related to those living in the Indian subcontinent. Sindhu River was referred as Hindu by Persian and the Greeks, and it was first used to mean to those who lived in Al-Hind but were not Muslims. The Arabs, the Turkish, the Afghans and the Mughals had to differentiate between the believers and the non-believers. They used the word Hindu for non-believers. The term Hinduism was crystallized for describing Hindus as amorphous subordinate and non-believers. Hindu philosophy. The Hindu view of life is built in the doctrines of samsara, the cycle of rebirth, and karma, the universal law of cause and effect, and that one's actions directly determines one's life, both present and future lives. Hindus hold that the universe is populated by numerous deities and spiritual beings, that is gods and goddesses, who actively influence the world. The tradition is typically divided into 4 major sects. Shaiva, devotees of Lord Shiva; Vaishnava, devotees of Lord Vishnu; Shakta, devotees of the goddesses; and Smarta, those who understand the ultimate form of the divine to be abstract and all-encompassing Brahman. The Hindu philosophy believes in the continuity of the present, with the past in which it is rooted and its projection into the future. The Hindu respect for tradition has a purpose. It seeks to achieve homogeneity and harmony in thought. The different phrases merely represents differences in emphasis at different historical periods, that is, truth is dharma in Satyuga, yagna, sacrifice in Treta Yuga, mana, knowledge in Dwapara Yuga, and dana, alms in Kali Yuga. There are the various bases of Hindu social organization. The Hindu people constitute one of the oldest integrated societies of the world, and its culture represents the fundamental ideas and aspirations of our ancient thinkers. It is the outcome of the necessities of social life, but it has evolved in terms of natural evolution. The Hindu social organization is regulated by certain spiritual principles. The Hindu theology believes in certain theological ideas such as Papa, Punya, Dharma, etc. The Hindus believe in several characteristics of Hindu social organization, and it is said that Hinduism believes in equality and egalitarianism. Yogendra Singh is of the view that the normative principles of Hinduism are based on beliefs, ideas and logic of permissiveness, liberalism, being and becoming, creation and destruction, hedonism, utilitarianism and spiritual transcendence. The prominent base of Hindu social structure is theological belief. Traditionally, the Hindus believe in certain theological ideas such as Punarjanma, rebirth, immortality of Atma, soul, Papa, sin, Punya, merit, Karma, deeds, Dharma, morality and Moksha, salvation. His status, comfort and discomfort depends on the nature of his actions, that is karma. The idea of karma teaches a Hindu that he is born into a particular social group or caste or family on the basis of his action performed in the previous life, Purva Janma. The idea of dharma tells him that if he performs his duties well in this life, he is destined to take birth in higher social group in the next birth. The idea of moksha teaches him that his papa and punya will determine the release of his soul from the necessity of birth and death. Next important base of Hindu social structure is idol worship. Idol worship is one of the important features of Hindu religion. The Hindus are divided in different sects and therefore uniformity is not maintained in worshipping a particular idol. Idols vary along with variation in sects, Rama, Krishna, Shiva, Ganesh and others, and they may be worshipped regularly in the temples or on specific occasion. Third, Base is the harmony. It is believed in Hinduism that harmony is manifested among various aspects of social life, as there is harmony between the various parts of the body. Religion and rituals have interconnections, and likewise every aspect of social life and actions are interrelated. It is also said that a man performs action mentally or through spoken word or through body reaction known as manas, vacha and karmaya respectively. Hierarchy is the important base of Hindu social structure. It tends to persist in Hinduism in terms of division of varna and caste system and charismatic quality of gunas such as sattva, rajas and tamas. Sattva, the highest and the virtuous of all gunas, refers to brightness and virtue possessed by the Brahmins and sages. The rajas refers to passionate commitment to action, and the kings and kshatriya varna possess this guna. Tamas, the lowest type of guna, which is associated with dullness and impulse, profane inclination, is possessed by the Shudras. Hierarchical arrangements are also noticed in respect to the purusharthas or the goals of life, such as dharma, referring to moral obligations in the realm of social, religious and cultural sphere. Kama, comprising of pursuit of sex and material goals. Artha, indicating accumulation of wealth, and moksha, the pursuit of salvation from the chain of birth and rebirth. Next base is segregation. Another important characteristics of Hindu religion is segregation of social communities in social relations, worships and religious beliefs. The nature of segregation depends on the status of varna which were created from the body of Brahma, Brahmins from mouths, Kshatriyas from arms, Vaishyas from thighs and Shudras from feet. But most of the Hindus goes against the segregation and believe that the membership in a particular group or varna is determined by birth and not on merit. The idea of purity and pollution has equally influenced the Hindu social life. These concepts are considered important in matters of commensal relation, in touching on maintaining physical distance, in intercaste marriages and in personal life of the Hindus. Purity and pollution are considered important on occasions like birth, marriage, menstruation, death, offering of prayers, etc. The concept of pollution is related to birth and not to cleanliness, and the concept of purity has got wider implications. It is not only confined to the action of men, but also extends to their level of thinking. Thinking ill of others is also considered impure and sinful. A person has to undergo a purificatory rite according to the seriousness of the violation of rules and purity. Non-violence or ahimsa is a fundamental principle of Hindu social structure which moves around the entire social life of Hindus. The concept of dharma is based on the conception of non-violence, which presupposes that man should not do harm to any living being, whether man or animal or tree. The origin of non-violence in Hinduism may be traced back to the post-12th century AD, only after the emergence of Vaishnavism and Shaivism with their devotional and ritual aspects. It nourished during the 15th and 16th century AD with emergence of sages who not only carry religious beliefs to the people but also replace the ritual-ridden religious beliefs by simple humanistic values, criticizing orthodoxy. These saints include Kabir and Tulsidas in UP, Guru Nanak in Punjab, Sri Chaitanya in Bengal, Mirabai in Rajasthan and Tukaram and Ramdas in Maharashtra. These saints not only carry religious beliefs to the people in their own languages, but they also change the ritual hidden religious beliefs into simple humanistic values and criticizing the orthodoxy. Male dominance is a prominent aspect found in Hindu social structure and which has always given importance to males in Indian society from the very beginning, has been patriarchal, and the male dominance has been openly accepted by all throughout the ages. This is not to say that women are not respected among the Hindus, but it only indicates that males had dominated the social and religious life of the Hindus throughout the ages. Marriage and family are very old institutions and are universal. Among the Hindus, there are certain rules and regulations which govern the family life and also conditions of married life. In Hindu system, marriage is considered not only an institution necessary by procreating the children, but it is essential for an ideal household. According to P.H. Prabhu, Hindu marriage is sanskara, and as such, the relationship between the marrying parties are of sacramental character and not a contractual nature. because apart from the necessity of begetting a son in order to assist the householder in the discharge of his obligation or the rinas, it has been ordained by the Dharma Sutra that wife is necessary complement as the Grihapatni, that is the lady of the house, for the proper and full execution of his dharma as the Grihapati, that is the lord of the house. Now we will discuss something about the Hindu social structure. The Hindu social organization is regulated by certain spiritual principles. According to Hindu philosophy, the aim of human life is to attain moksha and is only possible when there is proper management of activities and conduct. Hence, we have ashrama system for individuals and varna system for the society. Both these systems functions as an institution which enables individuals to attain purusharthas, that are the aims of human life. The principal elements of Hindu philosophy can be explained as follows. First one, the doctrine of dharma. What is dharma? Dharma is the righteous way of living. It is a code of right action and stands for truth as well as the law of evolution. Dharma is conformity of truth. By dharma, the weak defeats the stronger. According to Vaishika philosophy, dharma is that which leads to improvement and liberation. Dharma is the code of life for the individual pursuing the fourfold values of life, that is dharma, artha, kama and moksha, according to the category of his situation in the spiritual hierarchy, that is varna, and the stage, ashrama of his life, and follow the specific law of individual life, that is swadharma. Thus the Hindu Dharma Shastras always tells that a Hindu must lead his life according to dharma. Second important characteristic is the doctrine of karma. Karma is a word used for all activity or work. According to Bhagavad Gita, man can attain salvation by performing his prescribed karma. Karma in this context represents duty. There are four major elements in the doctrine of karma. First, very importantly, every human activity entails results which may take any of the following forms: physical, mental or ethical. The nature, character and tendencies of the person is affected by his karmas. The man reaps the harvest of the past life in the form of lust and sanskaras. Second, karma necessitates another life because man cannot reap the reward of his action in one life. Rich or poor, happy or sorrow, intelligence or foolish, etc. are all results of the action of previous births. The doctrine of karma makes indispensable a belief in immortality of the self. To reap the reward of action of this life, the jiva should be reborn just as the karma of this life proved the preceding existence. The doctrine of karma prevents the person from bad action. According to Hindu philosophy, the ultimate aim of human life is to attain moksha, and it comprises a supreme eternal value, and Bhagavad Gita has mentioned three marks to attain moksha: karma, marg, path of duty; jnana, marg, path of knowledge; and bhakti, marg, devotional path. The doctrine of karma has regarded karma as God. It insists on individual responsibility towards good and bad. It holds that every action has its own effect. Man cannot avoid the result of his action. Third important factor is varna system. The word varna evolved from the root vri, meaning choice or varna. The term varna literally means color. Originally, it has been used to refer to the distinction between Arya and Dasa. In the Rig Veda, the word varna is never applied to any of these classes. It is only the Arya Varna or the Aryan people that is differentiated with the Dasa Varna. Professor Gure states later on that Rig Veda distinction between Arya and Dasa gave place to distinction between Arya and Shudra. The Vedic society in the early days of its formation had four Varnas, namely Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Shudras. Brahmins occupied the highest position as gods upon earth. Kshatriyas were next to Brahmin and they had the right to claim the authority of God to rule upon earth as his representatives and enforce laws. Vaishyas came later and Shudras were the last. Just as there were three Vedas, it seems in the beginning there were only three Varnas. The fourth one was probably a later addition formed by dividing the Vaishyas into two groups as agriculture and cattle rearing became an important part of the Vedic economy. The Varna system helped Vedic society to protect and preserve family occupations and job specific skills and ensure the continuation of family lineages while minimizing conflicts and competitions between them. The aim of Varna system propounded in India was based in the division of labor, similarly to the division of labor propounded by Plato. The theory of division of labor is one of the fundamental organization. It ensures orderly progress of work in society. Each Varna was entrusted with a set of specific duties, which were collectively called the Dharma. In the Varna system, the Brahmins are at the top of the ladder. According to Hindu Dharma Shastra, the Brahmin is the teacher of other Varnas. Brahmanas worship fire, Agni, and engage in priestly duties. They provide education and spiritual leadership. They are out to determine the vision and values of any society. Traditionally, their basic needs were fulfilled so that they could dedicate themselves to their spiritual task. They are expected to live very carefully. The higher position of Brahmin has entitled him many social privileges, such as to study and to teach Vedas, perform sacrifices and religious ceremonies, and teach others how to perform such rituals, accept alms, and also give in charity. Other guidance, especially to Kshatriyas, provide medical care and general advice free of charge. Thus, in the Varna scheme, Brahmin occupies the highest position. He is a guardian of the moral discipline of the remaining Varnas. Kshatriyas. In the Varna organization, the Kshatriya occupy the second place in the hierarchy. They worship gods of royalty such as Brahma, Indra, Prajapati, Vayu, Soma, Mitra, Varuna, and engage in the duties of warriors. Their responsibility is to protect society and citizens from harm, especially women, children, cows, Brahmanas, and the elderly, and ensure that the citizens perform their prescribed duties and advance spiritually, be the first into battle and never to flee the battlefield, be true to their royal world, develop noble qualities such as power, chivalry, and generosity, to have knowledge of Arthasastras, deal uncompromisingly with crime and lawlessness, and conquer their own minds and senses, and to enjoy only according to scriptural injunction. The class therefore seems to have included only the chiefs and the nobles. During the early Buddhist period, this ruling class was socially supreme, but during Manu's period, this supremacy shifted to Brahmins. Vaishyas. The Varna Vaishya represent the third ladder of Varna organization. Vaishyas worshipped Vishwadevas, the gods of commonality, and engaged in trade and commerce. They are the productive class. Their duty is to protect animals and the land, create wealth and prosperity, to maintain workers with abundant food, clothes, to trade ethically, and give taxes to the Kshatriyas. The fourth ladder is the Shudras. Shudras occupy the fourth ladder of the Varna organization. The Shudras worship Pusan, the god of the earth, and engaged in obedient service to the other three groups. According to Shatapatha Brahmana, the rite of initiation or the Upanayana belonged to the first three Varna, but never to the Shudra. They were debarred from the Vedic studies. They are the only class who can accept another employment. Their duties include rendering service to the others, take pride in their work, and to maintain loyalty and to follow the general moral principles. Thus, in Vedic times, Varnas carried a lot of importance, especially in case of people who practice the Vedic Dharma and adhere to its established traditions and practices. Another important characteristic of Hindu social structure is the ashrama system. Ashrama Vyavastha is a fundamental for Hindu social life. According to Hindu philosophy, life is divided into 4 stages or ashramas. The literal meaning of word ashrama is a halting or resting place. Ashrama signifies halt, a stoppage or a stage of rest in the journey of life to prepare a man for further journey. The word ashrama is derived from the Sanskrit word shrama, which means to exert oneself. Hence, ashrama stands to mean the place where executions are performed. The action of performing such execution is initiated. According to Radha Kamal Mukherjee, the scheme of 4 stages of life, each with its proper kind of discipline and toil, defines for each individual appropriate right as well as duties and obligations. According to Hindu philosophy, life is divided into 4 stages or ashramas, that is brahmacharya, grahastha, vanaprastha and sannyasa. Every stage has its own duties and function. The theory of Purushartha is given concrete expression in the Hindu scheme of ashramas. Each ashrama has its own duties and function. By passing through these ashramas and by performing the prescribed duties, a man can prepare himself for moksha. The 4 ashramas are: the first one, the brahmacharya ashrama. The first stage of life is called brahmacharya ashrama. A person enters this ashrama through the performance of Upanayana ceremony. Through this initiation rite, a person is said to be reborn, that is Bija. The age of initiation into the first stage of life differs from Varna to Varna. The initiation ceremony takes place for a Brahmin at the age of 8, for Kshatriya at the age of 10 and a Vaishya at the age of 12 years. The Shudra child is not allowed to go through the first stage, as he is traditionally not allowed to have education. In this stage, the student's education begins at the residence of a teacher at Gurukula. The student is required to learn the Vedas, which contain the cultural traditions of the Aryans. His speech and thought must be pure and guarded by the studies of the Vedas. The life of the student is regulated in such a manner that there is a balanced development of personality. Strict discipline is required of a pupil and he must lead a hard life. He is required to restrain his senses. The control over the senses also means control over sex desires. The student must observe complete celibacy. The life of brahmachari is a life of discipline, and this ashrama is completed by the man at the age of 25. The duties of studentship include the life of austerity, service to teacher, reverence and respect. When a pupil completes activities of ashrama, he is considered to be a vidwan or a man of learning. Thus, in other words, brahmacharya is a period of training and discipline. It molds a youth towards a life of duty. The second stage of the human life is the grahastha ashrama. With the completion of the life of studentship, the second stage of life begins, which is called grahastha ashrama, or the life of a householder. This stage starts with his marriage ceremony. Marriage is more a social obligation, as its main purpose is the performance of dharma and the perpetuation of family, as well as the continuation of the group through progeny. It is necessary for him to secure a dharma patni to practice dharma, and on the other hand, a girl should also be married because her religious life starts from marriage. According to Hindu ideal, there is no other upanayana for a girl except marriage. Marriage is for girls what upanayana is for boy. After marriage, the husband becomes the guru of the wife. The grihastha ashrama enables the man to repay his runas, debts, namely the debt to God, Deva Runa, the debt to ancestors, Pitra Runa, and the debt of the saga, a sage, Rishi Runa. Apart from this, a householder is also supposed to offer food to animals, saints, and anybody who happen to pass through by chance. Grihastha ashrama is a period of fulfillment of social responsibilities and is mainly meant for the satisfaction of man's material and emotional urges, that is, artha and kama. The Hindu, as a householder, is expected to fulfill his executive and instinctive urges within the framework of dharma. The age at which a person enters this ashrama is about 25 years. The third stage is the vanaprastha ashrama. It is the third ashrama of life, and an individual, after discharging duties and obligation of a householder, is expected to enter this stage at the age of 50. In the vanaprastha ashrama, a person has to leave his family and place of living and is expected to hand over all the household responsibilities to his grown-up children, and he must go to the forest. The individual dedicates himself to a life of spiritual contemplation. The person must live in the forest to bring under control his senses of enjoyment. He must practice tapas, penance, to purify his body and soul. He indulges in the life of worship, silence and meditation, and leads a life of self-control and friendliness and charity to others. It is believed that if a person dies during vanaprastha ashrama, will attain moksha. It is for the sake of humanity a vanaprasthani lives in the forest along with his wife to facilitate the performance of social duties. The affiliations and associations of the householder comes to an end in this stage. Sannyasa ashrama. It is the last stage of life. The person enters the last ashrama, that is sannyasa ashrama, at the age of 75. The primary goal of this stage is to attain moksha. In this ashrama, a person breaks off all attachment with the world. He is expected to devote his entire life towards meditation to recognize subtle nature of the Supreme Soul and its presence in all organisms, both the highest and lowest. According to Dr. S. Radhakrishna, the sannyasi is the supreme social man, a parivrajaka, a wandering teacher who influences spiritual standards, though he may live apart from the society. Thus, the aim of the ashrama system is to perform the ashrama dharma. The ashrama dharma is not only social in its implications, but it emphasizes renunciation of the world in the vanaprastha and sannyasa ashramas. Ashrama system is a way of training through which the individual is to attain his end, that is moksha. It helps him to order and organize his life instead of leaving it as a bundle of conflicting desires. Now, we discuss upon the Purusharthas or the three Vargas. The concept of Purusharthas is closely connected with ashrama system. There are four goals of life which every Hindu ought to pursue. In ashrama system, individual is oriented towards the management of Purusharthas or aims of life. According to P. N. Prabhu, we speak of these Purusharthas as a psycho-moral basis of the ashrama theory because on the one hand the individual receives a psychological training through the ashramas in terms of lessons in the use and management of Purusharthas, while on the other hand in actual practice he has to deal with the society in accordance with these lessons. According to Hindu Dharma, there are four Purusharthas. They are Dharma, Artha, Kama and Moksha. What is Dharma? The word Dharma is derived from the Sanskrit word Dhri, which means to hold together or to preserve Dharma, is so called because it protects all dharmas, preserves all that is created. Dharma means truth and the right way of living. On an individual level, it is a true purpose in life. Dharma also refers to be conscious in our actions, words and thoughts, to have compassion and sensitivity to the needs of others and to be awake to the existence of the divine within you. Ultimately, Dharma leads you to remember who you really are. K. M. Kapadia is of the view that Dharma provides a link between Artha and Kama. He believes that if a person devotes all his energies to the satisfaction of basic urges, then life becomes undesirable and even dangerous. Therefore, some power or force is required to regulate and control mankind. Dharma provides direction to the acquisition and emotional drives in man, and by enjoying life in this manner, Dharma brings about harmony between temporal interest and spiritual freedom. It provides a code of conduct through which man has to conduct his day-to-day life. Dharma also brings stability and order, a life that is lawful and harmonious, and the striving to do the right thing, to be virtuous, to be helpful to others, and to interact successfully with society. Dharma is considered the first of the Purusharthas because without it, Artha and Kama can easily become self-destructive. However, Artha and Kama, when balanced, also serve to support your dharmic path, and eventually your outward dharma leads you to inner moksha. Hence, Hindu view of Dharma is that it is a force of power which protects man from all kinds of dangers. Second, that is Artha. Artha means economic and material aspects of life. It is a security of having the material comfort human needs to live in the world. It is felt by some that to be spiritual means to be poor. Artha is not about rejecting the world, but being content with the life, things you own. It is to live skillfully in a world of material objects that exist for the benefits of the individuals. According to K. M. Kapadia, Artha refers to the acquisitive instincts in man and signifies his acquisition, enjoyment of wealth, and all that it connotes. The old Hindu thinkers allowed the pursuits of wealth as a legitimate action. Artha is one of the basic human dignities, to have enough assets to live on and to take care of the family without accumulating or being greedy. Needs vary from person to person. Artha includes everything in your environment that allows individual to live a fulfilling life, and the means to achieve it. It includes knowledge, friendship, love, career, skills, good health and prosperity. Thus, Artha is a pursuit of activities and means necessary for a joyous and pleasurable life. It provides a foundation for dharma and karma. Without prosperity and security in society or at the individual level, both moral life and sensuality become difficult. However, it is important that your worldly success does not violate the moral responsibility of your dharma and your journey towards moksha. Kama. Kama refers to all the desires in man for the enjoyment and satisfaction of the senses, including sex, and the drives to which man is prone to. The desire for pleasure is what drives human behavior. A life without pleasure and enjoyment is hollow and empty. Kama relates to this pleasure, which can be sensuality, but is also art, music, beauty, love, intimacy, affection, fellowship, and kindness. It is what brings a sense of delight to your life. According to K. M. Kapadia, Kama refers to the instinctive and emotional life of man and provides for the satisfaction of sex drives and aesthetic urges. Kama as a satisfaction of the instinctive life is recognized as one of the aims of marriage along with dharma and procreation. Sex refers to procreation and it is regarded as the lowest aim of marriage. According to old classical Hindu thought, Kama does not mean sex life alone, it means emotional and aesthetic life also. The right kind of pleasure lead you towards your dharma and help you fulfill it with passion. Kama is good and necessary when it exists to support dharma and becomes part of the richness of life. However, excessive kama can lead to overindulgence, addiction, sloth, greed and lust. Kama is prescribed for the development of inner and outer life of man. The good of man consists in the harmonious coordination of the three. Hence, it is clear that the well-being of man depends upon the harmonious blending of these three, that is, dharma, artha and kama. These three combined together are called Trivarga. Moksha. The ultimate end of life is to attain moksha. When a person performs the above mentioned three purusharthas or the three vargas, he can think of salvation. According to Kapadia, moksha represents the end of life, the realization of inner spirituality in man. Moksha is self-discipline that is so perfect that it becomes unconscious, second nature, and unworldly understanding and a state of bliss. This liberation comes from a life lived with inner purity, alert mind led by reason, intelligence, and realization of the Supreme Self who dwells in all beings. Thus, moksha is seen as a final release from the life's illusion. The Upanishads describe the liberated individual as one who treats others with respect, regardless of how others treat him or her, returns anger with soft and kind words, doesn't expect praise from others, never injures or harms any life form, is as comfortable being alone as in the presence of others, and is humble of clear and steady mind, straightforward, compassionate as well as patient. This lesson revolves around the traditional Hindu social organization. Here we discussed about the dharma, karma, varna vyavastha, ashrama vyavastha and purusharthas, which are the important aspects of Hindu social organization. The greatest contribution of Hindu philosophy to human thought is the concept of dharma. Dharma means to hold together and to preserve. There are three kinds of dharma, the ashrama dharma, the varna dharma and swadharma. According to Hindu philosophy and the Purusha Sukta, hymn of Rig Veda, there is a description of division of society in the four orders or varna, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra. The four varnas compare the society with the giant physical structure of creator Brahma, having the Brahmana, the Kshatriya, the Vaishya and the Shudra as its head, arms, thighs and feet of the Brahma respectively. The functions of each varna are specified. The Brahmin is the teacher, the Kshatriya the warrior, the Vaishya the trader and the Shudra is the serviceman and services all the time upper three varna. Each varna occupies a definite rank in the social order. As the society is divided into four orders, similarly the progress of human life is also divided into several stages. Human life is divided into four distinct stages known as ashramas. The ashrama system concerns the four stages of life, the brahmacharya, the grahastha, the vanaprastha and the sannyasa. Each stage has definite duties and function. This scheme is ideally meant for males of the twice born caste, that is, a Brahmin, Kshatriya and the Vaishyas. The first stage, brahmacharya or studentship under the teacher, a strict celibacy, comes to an end at the age of 25 when the boy marries and enters the second stage, that is, the grahastha ashrama or a householder's life. At the approach of the old age, the householder enters the stage of vanaprastha or relative withdrawal, where he was expected to detach himself from family. Finally, he has to renounce the world or take sannyasa and preach the truth in the society which he had experienced in his life. Hence, along with the scheme of ashrama, we find a parallel system of purusharthas. These purusharthas are closely connected with the ashrama, and it is a fundamental principle of Indian social ethics. The purusharthas include dharma, right conduct, artha, wealth, kama, satisfaction of biological needs, and moksha, self-realization. Dharma, artha, and kama are called as the three vargas, which relate to the objects of the world. Duty, wealth, and sex indicates ethical ideas, physical means, and biological, mental, and vital desires of man, respectively. Hindu Dharma Shastras interpreted three varga as means of liberation. Thus, the entire life of a Hindu is influenced by the doctrine of dharma, karma, and purusharthas, and according to Hindu philosophy, the ultimate aim of human life is to attain moksha, and it is possible when one follows the path of knowledge and path of karma.